Yo, welcome back to another The Cutting Session podcast. I'm here today with, again, my man Charlie Wilson on drums and my man Deante Haggerty-Willis. Yeah, I was about to say Wilson, but Willis, yes. I get everybody's name. I'm terrible with names, bro. But y'all know I love y'all, man. Y'all know y'all my folks, man. So, before we even get started, y'all know how I do. Where can the people find you? Start with you, Charlie.
Wilson_drums on Instagram.
And
Deante. Turn Up Deante on all platforms. Turn Up Deante. Deante.
All right. So y'all know how we do. We gonna get started with a tune, and of course, feel free to, of course, comment, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and we're gonna have a good time. Let's go. Start us off, D. Yo, so we back. We in there. We ready to go. I know y'all like that one. And of course, everything we do is all original stuff for the most part. You know, we will be doing some other grooves by some other people, but we, you know, that's just one of those impromptu grooves right before we, you know, started. We just throw this in there real quick. So today we're going to start with tricks artists use in music. So this is one of those topics. It can be sensitive, but I'm not a sensitive person. You know, I use some of these tricks when and I find necessary. I'm not opposed at all to getting it done by any means necessary. And I understand that everybody is not me. Everybody hasn't necessarily, they might be doing music, but they might not have dedicated all the hours or even had the ability to. You know, sometimes we forget. We're very fortunate to have our skills and talents and everything else, because everybody doesn't have the time. Some people had to work in a brick mine or whatever they call them things, you know, diamond mine or whatever, you know. Yeah, you know the old people, they always got them extra harsh stories. I had to live through this and that. Okay. All right, but, you know, so everybody in history hasn't been afforded the time to be great at music. Exactly. So, you know, like I said, we're very fortunate. But with that, we work with a lot of different artists. Some of them need a little help. You know, so what are some of the, we'll start with you, Deante, since you the newest person on the show. What are some of the tricks that you seen artists use to pull a record or live?
One trick, it's funny to call them tricks, because sometimes, you know, we can think, for example, like a click track. Yeah. That might have a little bit of extra percussion in it, you know, might be considered a trick, you know, because it's like, all right, you could just hire a percussionist. Yeah. You know, if you wanted that sound, if you wanted that real feel, but, you know, you playing the click track, they got the congos in there, man, like that ain't live. Yeah. At the same time, you know, when it gets to that high note, you know what I'm saying, you see a singer hit one of them joints, but they ain't really singing that joint. Like, now that, I mean, I've seen that in some cases too, you know? And they got the lip syncing on lock, and it's like, man, you sung like maybe 25% of the song, but
the rest of that was support.
You know, you had a little bit of help. Yeah. Know? And sometimes we need a little bit of help. You know? Yeah. I'm sure there are a lot of fans out there that wish that some of their artists, you know, utilized a little bit of help at their live shows. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they all your favorite big artists use plenty of help. That's not, and I'm gonna leave it at that. I ain't even gonna go into too much detail, because some things are tricks of the trade, and you know, I feel like some stuff, you know, while that does happen a lot, it's like magicians. You know, they don't tell all their secrets. Even if it's a basic joke, they really don't. Basic trick. They don't really want everybody to know how any of them do it. They want everything they do to be a mystery to you.
That's part of the pizzazz.
Yeah, that's part of the trick. Yeah. Like, so, but what are some of the things you've seen? Some of the tricks you've seen artists use?
I can say I'm guilty of this one, but I used the transpose button playing keys. Just, oh no! You know what I'm saying? I'm guilty of it just because, like you say, I haven't put in the time, you know, in the piano and stuff like that to learn how to play in every key. But, you know, people still somehow hire me to play keys, and you gotta get the job done, you know. You gotta get the job done. So, you know, transposing songs in the keys I'm comfortable in. is like a. I mean, it's not just me. A lot of people do it. You know?
Yeah, a lot of people.
We see it done all the time. You know, and that's, you know, people frown upon it. I don't frown upon it because, you know, like you said, you gotta get the job done. I want everybody to make their money. You gotta do it how you gotta do it. But I'm also cognizant of the fact that, you know, you're limiting yourself, especially if you're a bona fide piano player doing this. Like, you should not be relying on the transpose button to get these gigs for like. Hold
on, you getting ahead of us. We ain't get to when and where to use it yet. We ain't get to when and where yet.
You know, I'm already going somewhere with it.
Well, we might as well go there now. So I mean, one of the wins, I guess, was say something's your second or third instrument, and you're not as skilled at that one as you are with your primary instrument. What he's saying is that's an acceptable excuse to get the job done, because a lot of times we play other instruments on gigs and whatnot because we need that money. And you already got a drummer, cool. But what that piano do though? Like, you know what I'm saying? If you talking making some extra money, I need to, you know, I mean, I still want to be on the gig even if I'm not the, you know, on my primary.
I'm not doing my main thing. I still need to eat. You know what I'm saying?
And that's why you gained that extra skill so you could use it. And while it may not be on a professional pianist level, people don't realize, like, a lot of people they think of professionals are really at an advanced level. At what they doing, and the professionals are the guys that are really killing that.
The cream of the crop.
Right.
You can tell, but like some gigs don't require you to
do most gigs though.
That type of talent or showcase that type of skill or ability. Whereas though, a person that's playing that secondary instrument can get away with doing the gig and nobody would ever know the difference or whatever.
And definitely not going. I mean, listen, if you play the part right, even if it's transposed, and nobody's gonna know. Okay, only person that's gonna know is the guy that plays your piano after you.
Please reset the pianos. If you hitting that button, reset the joints back. I've seen that happen on a gig. It was hilarious, yo.
Oh, I know.
Somebody tried to hop on keys real quick. Dude was like, "Oh wait." Just like that. Don't just hop on the joint. Wait a minute. And it was right at it was at the Key Change in Week by SWV.
Oh man. Yep. I know a bunch of guys that I knew a guy that only played in C. I'll just put it like that. Yeah. He only played everything in C. He could play every song you could think of, but only in C. And he would just transpose from there. It was. I'm not gonna say he did. You have to put in some work to at least to get to that. Yeah. So it's like, does that warrant? I guess you being able to gig. I guess. It depends. Yeah. Like it depends. Like if the gig is a standard gig, like a general business gig or something like that, like a wedding or something like that. Yeah, sure. But you want me to tell you, like, I actually play piano and organ, and I play at church every Sunday. I play organ. There is no transpose on the organ, okay? So, yeah, I've been playing piano since I was really, really young. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I've been playing piano along with playing bass. I'm not as good at piano as I am at bass. But at the same time, I'm proficient enough where it's a skill that I'm going to take advantage of. One of the things we were talking about yesterday is how to make a living at home as a musician. Mm-hmm. Play more than one instrument. Definitely helps. Yeah. Gives you way more options, you know. So, and that's something that you're already doing. You're really not learning music again. You're just learning it from a different standpoint. Like harmony and things like that don't change.
Yeah, but just like a mechanical thing.
Yeah.
That you learning, like actually putting your fingers to something new.
Yeah.
Is the challenging part for.
Yeah.
Like you say, you're not learning what a fucking triad is.
Yeah. That doesn't change. It doesn't change, but it allows you to be more flexible. So always, the key, I guess, as a musician, I would say for a living would be to always be flexible. Do not settle for the one or two things you know already. There's always more to learn, and there's a lot of time you spend on that instrument most times. So take advantage of that time. Stop playing the same thing over and over again. All right. So, do you have any particular time when you feel like, say like let's say auto-tune, because a lot of artists use auto-tune live and in the studio, or some form of auto-tune, or known as pitch correction, primarily, things like that. Basically, like I have a form of that on my pedal board. The Vocoder Pedal I use also will allow me to, whatever chord and key I'm playing in, it recognizes the chords and allows me to sing in that key. And it literally allows me to sound decent too. I can't sing in lick. I mean, I get close to the pitch, but I don't be right up on it because I ain't no vocalist. But I get you close to the pitch.
Same.
You know what I'm saying?
Same.
Yeah.
So that's.
And that type of shit come through in a recording.
Yeah, hey man.
You're not really hitting it, like.
That joint's exaggerated. Like I was. I've been playing drums since I was a smaller child. Drums is like my first instrument. But I never really focused on drums. So, like, I tried to play, just testing out the drum set, seeing how it sound on the recording, playing some stuff. I was like, dang, it's just so exaggerated that I couldn't even fix it with the software.
Yeah.
So, there's a certain point where it's just not fixable. Like, if it's garbage in, it's going to be garbage out. And somebody can't magically make you sound amazing or make you sound great. There's a certain point they can get you to, like, but beyond that, they can't do everything.
I think that's what we saying. They can now. Like,
yeah,
you can go in that joint sounding like garbage, and by the time that track is mixed and mastered, you sound like the next pop
next
star.
great thing.
Like, and I mean, we can mention artists all day. I think it's cheating when there's no way in hell that you can replicate that on the live stage.
Yeah. And
it's like,
But they can, because they got the joint live now, bro. You can do all this stuff live.
Well, yeah, in that case, then, I mean...
but it's still cheating, though. because if somebody just put a microphone with nothing on it, in front of your face, can you come close to that record? You know what I'm saying? And if that's the case, then you are cheating for real. Like, if you can't come close to your record.
All the vocalists do it, though, to a certain extent. Like, I don't know nobody to be like, yo, leave my track dry, bro. Leave my track dry. Just give me my usual effects, delay, reverb, don't pitch correct, nothing. I don't know no vocalists that do that.
Nah.
Like, and even musicians, I know musicians that know that the engineer cleaned up their part. And I don't know none of them that be like, yo, put my original track back in there. Like, they don't. So it's like, is it cheating or is it us? Is it any more cheating versus a handmade thing versus something made in a factory by machines?
Here's why I think it's not cheating. Because I realize that there's a difference between playing live, like being a musician or being like a live artist, and being a recording artist.
Yeah.
And when you a recording artist, like that, when that metronome is hitting, like if you're not on that joint, you ruining the track.
Yeah.
And the live setting, you might be a little bit behind, and the drummer can kind of pull you up, or the bass player can kind of pull you along, but when it's just you in that studio, I had to get used to like playing inside the pocket, or just used to recording, period.
Yeah.
So sometimes, there's times where I had to like, all right, cool, I'm gonna have to nail this run but I'm gonna play the rest of this song and just come back to that joint, like, or had to play a couple of notes, listen again, play a couple of more because I was rushing trying to get it done. Like, is that cheating?
Yeah, because it is, you punch in and you punch out on tracks, and you go back and you clean up your mistakes.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of recording, though. That's a part of the process of recording. I feel like when we say cheating, I think we're talking about, like, the integrity of being a musician and what it takes to be a musician before you need to use these tips and tricks, for real. Because there's some people out here that's, like, really bad that has to use all of the tricks. And there's people that's really talented that is only using the tricks just to clean up minor mistakes. And I think that's an important distinction between, like, the level of musicianship we're talking about, or, like, when you should use tricks, or how much you should use tricks, for real. And I feel like better music comes from people who are more skilled that use the tricks just as an enhancement versus somebody that's just literally dependent upon the tricks in order to make music.
But what about FL Studios? So, because I don't want to make it sound like we talking about just vocalists. Or and we making it sound like what we do as musicians is cool, but y'all vocalists not cool. So what about the guys that make beats and stuff, like the FL Studios? Remember back in the day, FL Studios had them little tic-tac joints?
Yeah.
And you used to just punch them joints in and make you a little beat.
They still doing it, yo. And honestly, I think that's what kind of led to the market being so saturated. Like, everybody now feels like they're a musician because they can go in there and tap some stuff. And, like, in a way, it's, like, cool because we're getting more art and people are creating more stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like there's almost a disrespect for people like us who, like, pouring into our craft to, like, really understand what music is and really know, like, all right, cool, this song is in C, but she's singing it in E flat. Let me and then like keep going. You can't do that if you're on FL Studio.
Yeah, you can. It's a transpo button on there too.
I mean, but you gotta know that. You gotta know, like, oh, this person is not in the right key.
Yeah.
It's not that they can't sing, because that's immediately what you think. Like, before you knew music, you was like, oh, they just can't sing or they just sound bad. It's like, no, they singing in this key and the musician knows it in this key. Yeah, maybe he don't know how to transpose. Like, maybe he don't know, like, it's a half step away.
Or, some guys can't hear it. It's just like you'd be surprised how many people, like, we just take for granted that we can hear the difference between things. But, like, it was a journey to be able to do that. Some people I know always had them type of ears, but most people I know didn't. They developed their ears, like, as they were developing their skill.
Mm-hmm.
So it was never just right off the back had everything, at least it wasn't for me, It took me a long time. So but okay, so we kind of talked about some of the proper ways to use them. What do you think, I guess, so where's the line? So we drawing the line from cheating and not cheating with, I guess if you actually have the ability to play pretty much the part without the track with a click, I guess. Is that where we drawing the line? Like, if you could play the part with a click? Because every part don't even have a click.
Like, say if you got to record a record, right?
Yeah.
And this record got to be done tonight, and you got to play this lick, or you want to put this lick on there that's like a little bit out of your range,
yeah,
and you got to punch it in or something like that. Mm-hmm. But by the time you get on the tour and y'all booking dates, you know you could play that joint. It's cheating, but it's a little bit more acceptable because you can do it. It's just you can't do it right now at your current skill set.
Well, is it? I mean, I don't consider it cheating. It's a tool. I use it as a tool. Like I say, when it's cheating, it's let me put it like this. It doesn't come cheating until you know that you're not even gonna work at it. Like you know you're not even taking music serious. You one of those people that just into how it looks. They're not really into the art of it or making sure that they're putting on a show, or they're more so into everything they think comes with music. You know what I'm saying? And then they want to come in the studio and have guys like me come in there and play on the stuff. You know, they know I've been working on my stuff, so they have me come play on it. But then they know daggone well they ain't even worked at their part or worked at nothing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so but they always come in there with the entourage, and they come in there with the glasses, and it's nighttime, and you know, but they not ready to really do the job that they, you know, spending money to do, because they be, and most of the time those type people it be on $8. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it was like, you know, but it's like, if you have respect for the craft, I can let it slide. And like you said, sometimes you got deadline. You ain't got time to be perfect right now, because being perfect takes time. You know, a lot of times difficult parts we make it look easy because we just playing it in front of you that one time and we nailed it. Yeah. But what about the other 1,000 times I practiced that line at home and it was wrong?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when you got a deadline and it's tomorrow, I'm gonna punch it in. You know, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Like I like the James Jamerson approach too. When I work for other people and I have time, I'm one of those guys. I am gonna do it in 2 to 3 takes. Like I'm gonna do 2 to 3 whole takes for you, and it's not gonna take me forever to do it. But that's because I'm gonna work it out at home and I got time. But if it's a last minute, you know, complicated thing, you know, you may have to do some punch-ins at certain points, you know. Yeah. If I don't have everything, you know, if you made a whole change to a section or something and I wasn't used to that and I've been practicing the same way for weeks, I may need to just punch that in. You know, it just depends. But
super situational.
Yeah, everything's situational. So, I mean, cause drums, y'all be cheating, man. Y'all always got the quick track, man. Y'all always got the whole track going. Yeah. Especially these church drummers now. I had to tell the drummer at my church, he's a young guy. I was like, yo, you don't need that track, bro. Why you trying to incorporate that so much? Like, why you think we need that? Because you don't want to have to rely on your time. Like, I'm already playing organ, so I'm running bass and keys. So I'm controlling a good part of the time for you, bro. Like, you got to learn how to control yourself. Like, cause his main, you know, I told him, like, you gotta calm down. Even when you go, and young guys don't even know how to breathe when they play sometimes. Like, you know, and they tense up and you speed up. You stay relaxed and you end up staying more consistent. Nobody stays perfect timing. And that's another myth we gotta get out the door. We'll talk about that another time. That perfect timing thing. Let me let you go for long enough. You'll mess up.
Yeah,
you'll mess up.
Nobody can keep perfect time.
Yeah. No, I know. I know some people that think they can. They think think they robots. Right?
I'm like,
and I know people that's close, bro. I know people that's so close.
But even those people, even milliseconds.
Yep.
Or speed up a millisecond or slow down a millisecond. It's just impossible to hear perfect timing and to play an instrument and keep track of that stuff. You know, that's why I'm saying, like you said, use it as a tool to just enhance what you got going on for real, just to make it a polished product. Because at the end of the day, when we making records, we want to make polished products, and that's what the tools are there for, is to make sure your stuff is clean sounding and or whatever the case may be. It's just, I just feel like it becomes a problem when it becomes a a crutch more than a tool for real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's just me.
Hey. Oh, all right. So let's get another groove in there. You know, it's about that time to get some more playing in.
Yeah, let's go.
Y'all know how we like to do. We don't want to talk to y'all too much. You know what I'm saying? We trying to play a little bit for y'all, keep y'all entertained. I'm not even gonna steal other people's catchphrases today. right, and we're back. So, now we're going to talk a little bit about what makes a good solo. And we're not talking about just jazz. We're talking about a good solo in general, because there's different types of solos. So just for a reference or a reference point, starting point, like for instance, as a bassist, a lot of times, and I hate to say this on radio, but it's just not good time for a bass solo sometimes.
Yeah.
I hate, depending on the player, you know, and what's going on. Sometimes it's just not a good time for a bass solo, so it doesn't matter if it's a good solo or not. So this is just a reference point for you guys just to start. Sometimes a good solo is going to start with playing it at a good time in the first place. So that's why I'm kind of starting there, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have seen bass players or drummers that want to take solos while the whole dance floor is packed. And people are trying to dance. They've been drinking and paid $20 to park. You know, the guy's trying to have a good time, trying to freak up on his lady, and you want to take a solo. Really? Right now? Right now? Okay. So, you know, and then you expect me to like it. You expect that you just basically cock block me.
You say, look at me.
Right. Just say, look at me right now. Okay. So sometimes it's, you let's start with, sometimes it's okay when they come around to you, it'd be like, you want to take a solo? It'd be like, good. Because it's not, unless you're in a situation where they are very adamant about you taking a solo right then and there. It's your job. You got to do what you got to do. But for the most part, if it's not a good time, I'm going to tell you no. Like, if everybody's up dancing and I know a big part of that is my part in the drums, you know, in funk, a lot of times that includes guitar, but guitar can easily take a solo and nobody's going to stop dancing, or other instruments. So, you know, just from a drum and bass perspective, sometimes we have to literally tell them, nah, we don't want to take a solo. Or like the drummers, if you do take a solo during something, it might be more groove oriented. Yeah. Same way with basses, might be like more like a Marcus Miller type solo versus Victor Wooten type solo.
Yeah, like you'll keep that pocket.
Just for dancing, not wrong. I love Victor Wooten. He's one of my favorite all-time bassists, as you can see. Holla at me, Vic, when you get a chance. In my mind. But even him himself, he talks about this a lot. When's a good time to play a solo? When's a good time not to play stuff? And, you know, so what are you guys' thoughts on that? We'll start with you on this one.
Exactly like you said, you kind of got to know the setting, like what's going on around you. Like, you got to look at your environment, you know, see what people are doing while y'all playing. You know, especially me as a drummer, I don't like to take solos if I'm playing like a trio gig at like a dinner party where it's like, you know, they want it quiet, you know, or, you know, if I do take a solo, it's going to be something light, almost borderline meaningless solo, because, you know, I don't want to bring attention to, you know, I don't want to get people out of their mood or their, whatever they got going on. I don't want to bring too much attention to the band, because sometimes gigs are not about the music you're playing. It's about the setting you're bringing. Like, you're bringing an ambiance, and that's more important than the actual music that you're playing. You gotta be cognizant and aware of, you know, your surroundings. So for me, on like situations like that, I tend to, like, you know, back away from solos, you know, try to just keep it as quiet as possible, you know, or just keep it as respectful, or just try not to ruin the gig. Like, you want to be hired again, you know. Try not to ruin it for yourself, you know. But like we said, like, you know, just know your surroundings.
Right.
Definitely know your place. Because honestly, I think as a guitar player, like, sometimes you don't have a choice. It's like, all right, if it's Purple Rain, like, nigga, you gonna play that guitar solo.
Yeah.
Like, you're.
But that's built into the song, though.
Yeah, some songs are just like, don't play Before I Let Go, and the guitar player, like, missed the beginning part where there's a solo as soon as those hits are over. Like, so stuff like that you should know. But I think the territory that we getting into is, like, you have to be so much more than a musician to be a musician. Like, that's a part of it. But what y'all talking about, like, crowd engagement, interaction, like, reading that energy, reading the room, like, centering yourself to be able to read the messages that are being sent to you, like, that's so much more and deeper than musicianship. Like, but it allows you to be a better musician. So I think just, like, going within, like, knowing who you are and being able to, like, read what's going on. You'll know when it's time to solo. You'll know what to play when you're soloing. Like, but you have to establish, like, that habit of being in your shed and, like, practicing your scales, but then at the same time, like, being willing to let all of that go and like, tune in
to what's going on.
Yeah,
I get it from church. Growing up in church and playing in church all these years and being a music director, and playing organ, I guess, because it you have to, as the organist, you have to be sensitive to the entire mood of the church, you know, because we playing even when everybody else is chilling. You know, so you learn what softer textures work to make things feel more mellow, and what textures work for louder stuff like shout music, and you learn these different textures and how you can use them to create a mood, or how you can use them to stop a mood. I've also learned how to do that in church. I'm ready. When you're going too long, I can get you up out of here. I can get you sat down. I can make you sit down without being hot either. Like, but you know, that's one of the biggest things I've gotten out of that experience was just simply tuning into what the people are doing. Like, I hate when bands try to force a shout, you know. This I know y'all seen that a bunch of times, or pastors or preachers are trying to force a shout, and it's not happening. Like, it's not gonna happen on my watch, brother. I'm gonna tell you that now. Now, if it's leading there, and I will know if it's leading there. I've been here 1,000 times. 1,000 is an understatement at this point. Hundreds of thousands of times I've been here. I know when a shout is about to happen. So ain't no guessing. If it's gonna happen, I would know. Okay? You know, so especially because it's my job. Like, I get paid to know.
Do you think it's the same everywhere though? Like, do you think the way that you run a church down here, you'll be able to run a church in LA?
Yes. You be able to run a church. Like, it runs all the same way. Every church I've been to, you can run the same. Only thing is, it shouts a little bit faster or slower. That's the only difference. Worshiping, and then you gotta know when to go into the worship music when they're in prayer. You know, so, but that's where I kind of get it from. But let's go ahead and get into the actual playing of the solo. I know you guys are waiting for that. You guys talking about some good solo. He didn't even talk about the solo. Yeah, we about to. Give me a chance. Dang. Hey, we getting there. So what for you are some of the good elements for a good solo? And we talking about cross instruments, things that are cross instruments.
Soloing in general.
I would say space. Like, space. Knowing how to utilize space, and like it goes back to tuning in, like knowing when there's nothing coming and being okay with, like, all right, I'm not going to just run in here and just throw my fingers to the wind real quick and just do something because I gotta play a solo. Like being comfortable with the fact that you might play one note and then let a couple bars go by.
Yeah.
And then play two. And that's your solo. Now that does come in certain spaces. You're not gonna do that at church, like where you got 6 bars and that's it. You're just gonna have to play. But if you want a gig where you got some room to like stretch and develop a story, which is which is the short version of this long-winded answer. Like,
hey,
tell a story.
To talk,
you know?
man. You know that's what we're here to talk. You know, but it's important that we distinguish. There's a difference between chops and actual solo. We're not talking about you just did a lick as a feel. We're not talking about feels. We're talking about actual solos. Because generally in church, you don't really take solos. Yeah. You do a lick. And there's a feeling, you know, or something like that. It's not like a whole solo. Guitarists get solos in church, but that's about it. Everybody else got to have a little special show, and then the church, but all right, you can solo now.
But you're not even really solo.
Yeah, but we're not going there. Because you know what you're going to get into. But you're not soloing, though.
Like, you just like...
You about to go in.
Playing pentatonic lines, like
hey man,
colors.
They do
coloring.
They do what they do what they can, man. Like, but you get some guys like what's the guy, Cornell Gaskin, an organist. He's an amazing organist. I love his organ playing or piano playing in general. John Peters is another one who's playing I really like a lot. In terms of gospel guys that can solo. So just to throw that out there, I do have a few guys that I like. Both of y'all can holler at me too. I would love to work with either one of y'all on the track or something. But yeah, what are some of your elements of a good solo?
I mean, I feel like storytelling is the most important part of soloing, and that comes with kind of knowing yourself and having something to talk about, or just being able to translate your life experiences. When people translate their life experiences through their instrument to a solo, where you can really kind of walk away from there playing with some type of feeling, like you kind of felt what they was trying to say, or they made you feel some type of way, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Those are the type of solos that I find the most interesting, and it's all has to do with storytelling, because you know when you tell a story, there's a beginning and it's a middle, it's an end, and you know you don't get to hear those type of solos too much in church settings, or even sometimes in the jazz world you don't get to hear it because people so focused on playing chops or just playing reaching in their bag, and they not really like going anywhere with it. Like you don't feel like I've become uninterested in people that's just playing chops the whole time. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not even saying like you could play a lot of notes but still tell a story. You could play a little bit of notes and still tell a story. It's all about just really just kind of relating your life story to your instrument, and we know when people are really doing that. Like you know when somebody's really like digging deep and trying to say something for real, because even their expression or how they even play that instrument, they almost seem uncomfortable playing for it because they trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? They trying to figure it out, and those type of solos, you know, however many mistakes or whatever is going on, those are the type of solos I enjoy the most, because it seems like you're taking us on a journey, and the mystery of like not knowing where we going next. Like, and you know, some solos are super predictable, you know what I'm saying? Some solos are just so cliche, like they just so tropey, like those are type of we don't like.
And what he's saying right there is basically, I know a few guys that have a lot of technical ability, but they play a bunch of recycled lines. Meaning this is one of the reasons why I'm not really a big advocate of transcriptions personally, because I don't want to have that many of somebody else's thoughts when it comes to that. I listen to a lot of solos that do audible transcriptions, like I sing it. Like I could sing a ton of solos, but I've literally only done 1, maybe 2 transcriptions my entire music career. Because I really don't care about transcriptions. Like I really don't care what you play, because it's not what I'm going to play. It's not even close to anything I'm going to play. It's not even how my brain works.
That's interesting.
So, I look at things like I am looking for technique during a solo. I'm very much looking for technique. That's one of the key starting points for me to say if you're really proficient at what you're doing, how efficient is the technique that you're using allowing you to play, basically. And then I go from there to, what harmonies and what melodic phrases and motifs are you using. And then I go from there, how far are you away from what the average player would choose to play over that. So, am I hearing a unique approach? When guys say that, that's like such, it's too vague. When I say a unique approach, I mean, are you playing something over this chord that I haven't heard somebody else play before? And if you're not, it's cool, but, you gotta, what I'm saying, that counts towards the points in the solo, it does.
You gotta separate this.
Yeah, if you play something that I'm like, yo, I've never heard nobody use that over that, that's wild, yo. That's one of the reasons why I like drummers like Chris Dave. Dave. See, I be messing up everybody's name. I'm trying to tell you, it ain't personal. It's not personal, bro. It's just because I want to work with him too. Holler at me, bro. But he's his approach, stuff he be choosing to do is different, and like his solos and stuff are so different, and his grooves and stuff are so different that guys started copying him. It was like a rocker Chris Davis for a while, or wannabe Chris Davis for a long time, bro. So that's how I kind of look at originality overall, dynamics. And like I said, and that kind of includes the rest and stuff, with the phrasing and stuff. So
yeah,
that's the key things I'm looking for. With drums, I'm looking for literally the same thing. Like, what motifs are you using? How creative are you being with the tools? Are you using actual tones of the drums? Like, are you using actual tones of the cymbals? Because, each drum is its own instrument, literally. One of the biggest things I like from doing marching band was I learned that, just snare drum has so many nuances to it, just a snare drum. And there's so many things you could do with a snare drum. Some guys are killing with the brushes on a snare drum. And some guys are killing in a marching band setting, but, on a snare drum. But they not fluent on a set. But on a snare drum solo, they would be ridiculous. Yeah. So it just depends on, how you use the drums as a tool, overall, not just kind of, it's not always about how many patterns or, because I understand what you're saying. There's a difference between you doing chops or licks versus you putting together motifs and phrases to form a whole cohesive sentence and solo, or paragraph, whatever it is you're trying to say. A lot of times a lot of drummers don't understand that when you say you take just a triplet fill, something like that, but you find a way to work those accents differently in there. Now you're moving it around the drum kit. Now you're exploring dynamics within that. Now you starting to explore different textures of the drums within that as well. Because you could easily play with different textures on drums. It's just one of those things you could do that with. But so that's what me personally I'm looking for. whether it be on a record or live. You know, that's why I tell people. Some people think, rating solos is subjective. It's objective or subjective. You know, depends on who you talking to. Somewhat, but not really. Some solos are quantifiably a lot more difficult to pull off than others, and I'm saying that difficulty level isn't everything. Because you need to be talking while you're soloing. If you don't know what that means, then you don't know how to solo. But, because I'm not even going, that's a whole deep topic I'm not going into right now. Talking versus playing a bunch of licks. So, you know, what are y'all thoughts on some of what
I think said? You're like, so it's funny because I actually have a different opinion of transcriptions than you do, which I think makes for a great conversation, right?
Yeah, sure.
So,
that's why we having it.
I have a record that I want to put out, and the funny part about it is that everybody else's part is done, except for mine, and that's because I've committed to not starting on what I'm about to do with it until I finish transcribing this solo that I picked up off of this cat. And the reason I want to do that is it's not because like I want to necessarily study everything he does. Yeah. But I've recognized like the real value in a solo. I transcribed local people. I transcribed Dana. Okay. I did a bass solo of his. Okay. And the interesting thing is that I learned so much more about Dana from transcribing him. Yeah. And like hearing what he was putting out and being in the room and going off of like a recording on my phone, like, all right, cool, I gotta rewind. Ain't no amazing looper on that joint. You just gotta rewind it back and listen. And then you start to listen to like, all right, cool, he's playing the E, but it wasn't here, it was here. Mm-hmm. Or it was here on the neck. Yeah. And then he did, all right, so cool. He had to do this in order to play it that way, because it's no way he could have did this and go to the next. It's like you learn so many different techniques, like packed and encapsulated in like somebody else's solo. So I would say pick a solo that you really, really respect. Like you said, like I ain't never heard nobody play no shit like this on this chord or at this moment. Yeah. And that's worth me like putting into my vocabulary, in my lexicon. Yeah. Like it's worth me like now I'm not going to use all of what you did, but I got the ear to be able to hear that shit and be able to say like, oh, okay, if I'm just soloing and I'm letting myself go, that's a bag I can access. I'm not going to take all of the part. I ain't going to play don't play the whole damn solo. Like don't go on a gig.
But it's like, where do you draw the line though? Like it's like for me with the transcriptions, the reason why I never did it is because like I could decode what you're doing without doing that. Like I know which scale you're using over that. Like all I need to do is figure out the scale. I have my own process of working through scales, so I have a whole system of why I know what you're playing in your solo. Like, okay. Right. You see what I'm saying? Like, I learn audibly. For me, I learn music audibly singing it. Like, I don't need to play it. I really don't need to play it because the technique of it, for me, I don't listen to bass solos like that. I don't. I really don't listen to bass solos like that. Like, I don't hear no bass solos that I be like, oh, I gotta transcribe it. I only hear other instrument solos that I'll be like, oh, that's nice. Mm. But I still don't transcribe it because I already know what you're doing. And I have my own version of that that's just as good as yours. So why do I need your line at all? Your line is only giving me one instance of being able to use that when I could have just learned the skills and the technique. Technique is something different. So like say, I never learned the Victor Wooten solo, but I still can... See what I'm saying? Mm. I learned the technique. Yeah. The technique is... That's his main techniques. Now, what else I need to know from him?
Now, if you got if you can break down the concepts, like conceptually what they doing or technically what they're doing,
the rest of these doing is pentatonics.
Then maybe you don't need to transcribe his solo. But I think,
but it's not just his. It was only ones I did. I did one bebop solo of Charlie Parker's, and I never had to do anybody else's. Charlie Parker's the only transcription I know, and that's Barbados, because Barbados is the only solo I've ever heard where I was like I didn't know what it was going on, and then once I did that, I knew everything everybody else was doing. I don't know why, but once I did that one, and I already had my system, and it was like I just didn't understand chromaticism and things like that, and target notes and approaches. So it's like I focused on learning that stuff, like what notes work where, what note sounds really good on what chord, what rhythmic figures sound good over whatever else is going on. You see what I'm saying? Like that's just how I learned. That's why you can listen to every solo I ever did, ever, and it will never sound like nobody else's solo. You can't pick out one line in there that came from somebody else's solo. And that's why, I don't even sound close to any bass player, like any other bass player. I sound like myself. Like, you gonna name like 50 people trying to, but by the time you name 50 people, is that really me sounding like them? No. It's me sounding like me. That's
that's me.
Right, that's sounding like me. So it's just, nothing's new under the sun. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody got scales, everybody using the same notes. We using the same 12 notes. Yeah. But the way I'm going to put it together, if I can find a way to systematically put it together, which I do have a way for you all, which will be coming out soon, my improvisational course. And it's going to be 14 steps to taking you from here to the sky, baby. So... So we're going to get you guys in there. So please like, subscribe, and share. And I guess we hadn't planned out to do another tune, but we're going to end it out with another tune somehow. Yeah, did you want to do that one, or did you want to do another one?
I mean, we've been talking about, being in the moment and all of that shit. Like, I feel like it'd be almost crying for us not to do it. Like,
all right, no problem. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got. right, guys. That's all we have for today. Thank you guys for watching another episode of The Cutting Session. This is episode number 3, and we hope to see you guys next Monday and next Tuesday. So please like, subscribe, share, and all that great stuff. Again, we have my man Charlie Wilson on drums. Give him the
Wilson on drums on Instagram.
We have my man Deante Haggerty-Willis. Said it again, It's Willis. Willis.
I'm at Turn Up Deante everywhere. Turn up Deante.
Oh, make sure y'all follow, like, and subscribe to both of my guys here. They definitely would appreciate it. I would appreciate it. And of course, you can find me on here and YouTube, The Bass Negus, as well as all other social media app Reggie Payne Bass. Oh, thanks again. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace. Hit the click that mouse. Just click it.